So I'm going to mount a Daiichi X472 in the hook. This is in the vices, a size 2, and we'll do the first dubbing. We'll do a couple of things here. Just want to show you more or less a couple of dubbing techniques. So one of the things I find with the uni threads, the polycotton, polyesters, is they're very difficult to try to split. You can work at it and get it, but it's not the best thing to try to work with. Even if you try to unwind the natural factory twist in the thread, you can do it, but it takes some time. So we'll just add a little bit of dubbing in here in this split loop. Grab a little bit more. Okay. And we'll give it a clockwise spin to create our dubbing rope. So 8/0 is fairly thick diameter. It's anywhere from 0.25 to 0.038, and sometimes thicker than that. So I just let go of the rope or the thread after I thought I had enough turns in there, and you can see it's created a nice little loop of dubbing. And we'll just add that on, and that works out quite well. You can also run just a regular dubbing loop instead of a split thread system. And with a dubbing loop, you just come down and around the hook shank again, create a loop in our finger, go around the base of the thread a couple times, and then around the hook shank again. Again, we'll just add a little bit of dubbing. Just some hair. And now we'll generally use a tool, whether it's an old hook style or a roto dubbing tool, whatever you have, whatever you're comfortable with, they all work well. So we'll just give that a clockwise spin instead of a counterclockwise spin. And you can see, you got to remember now, even with 8/0, you've doubled up. You got a fairly thick thread rope in there, and that can show through when it gets wet if it's not pulled tight enough. You should show right through the dubbing while it's wet. And we'll just do a couple of turns and brush the material back as we go. And come around over top, once in front, around the back once in front, back once in front. Do standard tie-up procedure 3-2 or 3-3. Depends on where you stop your thread, either behind or in front of your lashing loop. So that is just using 8/0 thread, easy enough to work with, easy enough to break as well. So I'll go to the 18/0 Nano, and again I'm not going to wax it. We'll just do some touching turns, lay down a little bit of a base. Again, nano silk, just push your scissors through it, and that cuts it quite easy. So GSPs, again, like I'd mentioned, and all threads have a natural twist in them. It's built into the product. As you can see, the thread is unwinding itself, trying to find that flat spot where the thread itself will spread out. All the fibers will lay down flat and even, and that takes a bit of the rope out. But you can help that by just pulling on the thread between your forefinger and thumb And what happens is when you let go, you can see it just opens right up. And we'll then just take our bodkin, put it in the thread, find a roughly equal amount of thread for both sides of the split thread system. And then we sort of more or less have it. If we're not happy with it, we can always add in, move over another couple of thread fibers. And again, I'll do this in orange instead. Well, maybe not orange. I'll do this in a pastel-y orange color. Lay that in on the thread. Again, clockwise spin of your bobbin. That'll tighten it back up, put it back into the factory spin, and then some. And before I let go, or when I let it go, then I can also push up the thread, and it'll tighten it up even more. And as you can see, this is fairly bulky in spots, so I'll just pull that out. All the extra dubbing in those areas. And now I've got a fairly tight rope, and I'll just give another little spin. And push that up, bring the bobbin up. And now we've got a very, very tight split thread. Dubbing loop. A few turns. And tie that off. Now we'll do the dubbing loop once, twice, three times. Once over top, once around. Oh, what am I doing? Once around, second time around, over top, bring it in front. And again, we'll just put in the dubbing loop some material. Flatten this out a little bit, spread it out, so we've got a bit of a bunch of material in the loop itself, and then we can either use our hand tools, our roto tools, or our frothing tool. Hanke Clinkin gave me this tool, and I thought it was just brilliant. And there we're spun up and spun extremely tight. I'll just lay my thread off to the side and use my rotary tool. You can do it hand over hand if you want, or just use your rotary tool. You can certainly do it hand over hand. And again, if I bring my thread even through this anywheres, it's very difficult to see it. Behind, over top and front, behind, over top and in front, and that's pretty much tied off. That's about all you really need. Now I'll take this and wet it for you, and we'll see how the color comes through, or if the thread has changed the undertone of the fly color. I'll just run over to my aquarium if you bear with me, and I'll dip it in the tank. I'll dip all three of them in the aquarium and get them wet, and I'll come back and show it to you. So the first one we did with the black thread, you can see where I thought was you can see how the thread shows through if you have a little bit of, if any of it's exposed. And I should have probably wrapped thread over the front of this part, just over top of the material, so you could see if you needed to do that, how that affected it. The all chartreuse, or the light pastel-y green, you can see that it doesn't really show through anywhere as well. And then the multicolored one, this black back one, because it's probably a little thin, it's definitely darkened up somewhat. No apparent differences in the front, but I do see in the olive here in the middle, I can see some thread showing through. And that could have been just a matter of not building a very uniformed dubbing loop. But nonetheless, that's a few of the dubbing things that we do, and hopefully you enjoyed this little video, and hopefully this explained a few things too. Again, have yourself a great day.